This is the Nimbus 24, a bridge between ASICS' storied past and an exciting new future. But since I first started running in this shoe, the way I've been using it has changed. It's time to talk about the Nimbus 24 after 100 miles. 8.22 miles, 9 minutes, 15 seconds per mile, and 141 beats per minute on a cold spring day here in Chicago. And with these miles, I'm getting the ASICS Nimbus 24 to the 100 mile mark. Now, before I give my thoughts on how this shoe has held up over those miles, I do want to go over some disclosures. The ASICS Nimbus 24 was sent to me by ASICS for the purpose of review. However, they're not paying me to make this video or to use the shoe, and they're not going to get a chance to preview any of my footage or my thoughts before you guys get a chance to see this video on YouTube. So with that disclosure out of the way, let's talk about the Nimbus 24 after 100 miles. First, let's talk about how I've been using this shoe, and the way that I've been using this shoe has definitely changed. Now, ASICS markets this shoe as its max cushion shoe, or its most comfortable daily trainer. And so that's how I initially started using it for my recovery days and for those slower long run days where I'm just going to be on feet a lot and really want something comfortable. And with the way that the shoe is designed, it's got tons of really comfortable memory foam style padding in the heel and a very enjoyable knit tongue instead of a traditional puffy tongue for the max cushion shoe. It made for a very comfortable ride in the upper, and I felt like I was getting a pretty comfortable ride using this new FF Blast Plus midsole foam in this shoe. The only problem is that some of the other kind of like legacy elements of this shoe really started to kind of bother me, even though they have been tweaked substantially from some previous generations of the Gel Nimbus, but they're still here. There's still a lot of gel in the heel. There is still a truss stick system, and you can kind of see it here. It's a lot smaller than it normally is, but it still is in here, and basically that's a way of preventing the shoe from kind of like getting too twisty depending on how your foot is landing. And then there's another little donut of gel in the forefoot of this shoe. And what I felt was, for any run longer than about 10 miles on the left foot specifically, I would really start to feel kind of like this gel ring starting to poke, or maybe it wasn't the gel, but maybe it was the way that this outsole pattern is cut. Something was kind of like digging into the pad right underneath my big toe on my left foot. And so while I enjoyed it as a easy day shoe and as a recovery run shoe, it was only if I kept it under a certain amount of distance. But over time, I started realizing, and especially when you guys were telling me about the fact that you think that this is a 16 millimeter stack height shoe, and I think that's what's being reported. It just doesn't, I don't believe that it's a 16 millimeter stack height shoe. But I started thinking, well, if this isn't 26 millimeters of stack height in the forefoot, and it's really only 16 millimeters of stack height in the forefoot, I started shifting the way I was using this and using it just as a regular daily trainer, not for those recovery paces, but for those easy paces, and maybe anything that might be like a little bit at the high end of easy, getting into kind of moderate. And there, I found that I really enjoyed the shoe more when I thought of it just strictly as a daily trainer, like a workhorse daily trainer, rather than as a super comfortable plush recovery type of shoe. And so from then on, I didn't really see that discomfort in that pad of the foot. Then I really started to enjoy that bouncy, lightweight springiness of this FF Blast Plus foam. And I had a peppy, fun shoe to run in that I could just put the shoes on, set it and forget it, and go out for my run and just enjoy the scenery, enjoy the weather, and just enjoy the act of running. And so I started to really enjoy the shoe a lot more that way once I kind of like made that just small tweak in like when I was reaching for these particular shoes. So with that being said, let's talk about now how the shoe has held up to all those miles that I've been putting in it. As far as the upper goes, it's still super comfortable, both in terms of the material that's around the heel collar, although I feel like I don't really need this much comfort and this much padding in the heel, and I still really enjoy this knit tongue. I really wish they would just make an entire shoe out of this kind of material, just to have something very comfortable to put on feet, because I really love the way that this knit tongue feels. Everything's still just working really well, still really nice and breathable shoe, very comfortable, not only for running, but also I did do a little bit of casual wear in terms of having this shoe on, and I feel like just for like your everyday life also could definitely be a shoe that'll be very comfortable to have on foot. As far as the outsole wear, I'm seeing very little wear on my left foot. It's really hard for me to find any at all. The AHAR Plus rubber that's on here is doing a really good job of holding up to all those road miles. On the right hand side, I usually get a little bit more wear on my right foot than my left, and the normal areas are kind of in the pads of the feet and like right here on that outer part of the heel. I'm seeing a little bit of wear just on this one little kind of like pod of rubber, and that's really the only place that I'm seeing any kind of wear on the shoe, anything that would indicate that the shoe has 100 miles on it, because when I'm wearing it, it certainly doesn't feel like either from the upper or from the midsole like it's got 100 miles on the shoe. It still feels like a really fresh shoe right out of the box. Now visually it does look like there is some creasing, so there may be a little bit of breaking in that's happening. There might be a little bit of change in terms of the characteristics, but in terms of what I could feel on my feet, it's not noticeable yet at the 100 mile mark. So I feel pretty confident that combined with the ASICS rubber, which is just known for its long-term durability, I feel like this material is going to hold up for a really long time and give people a lot of miles for it. And that's going to be a good thing, because I think that in terms of price, I feel like the shoe is a little bit expensive. Now, normally the Gel Nimbus is a $150 shoe, which makes it one of ASICS' more expensive kind of daily trainers. And now at this $160 price point, I feel like on the one hand, 2022 is going to be the year of the $160 shoes, so I'm not mad at ASICS for pricing it there. But I also just feel like it's kind of a lot for like what I consider to be a daily trainer for it to be at 160. I would have loved if they could have kept it at that 150. I understand that they're using a new foam that's vastly improved from the ones that they've been using it. They've reconfigured the amount of gel. They've reconfigured the trust stick system. You're getting a knit tongue instead of just a textile tongue that's just super puffy and a sweat sponge. So there's definitely like value improvements that I'm sure have changed the kind of the cost equation for this shoe. I would love to see it come down in price a little bit. The Gel 23 is on sale now at a pretty substantial discount, and so maybe after a couple of months this shoe will start to see some discounts as well. But I will ultimately say though that like at 160 compared to like other shoes that are already on the market now, like pre-2022, I think that the shoe is definitely competitive, and it's not like, I guess I'm not mad at the shoe. I'm not saying that the shoe is overpriced. I guess I'm just kind of lamenting the fact that the running industry is going to get to a place where $160 shoes are not unusual anymore. So I guess that's my ultimate point in terms of what's going on here. Pricing aside, I'm really excited that ASICS is putting new technologies into some of their legend shoes, the ones that have been around pretty much like since the beginning or very near that, with this being the 24th iteration of this shoe. It's great to see them being unafraid to innovate with some of their best technologies and having faith in those great new technologies into these shoes that are kind of like, you know, sacred in the ASICS line. And I think they did a really good job in terms of like melding kind of like all the things that people loved about this line and all the things that are new and exciting that I love to see get put into shoes. And I think that people that are looking for a way to try a lot of the new technology that's out there in terms of running shoes, but still want the creature comforts and some of that familiarity that they've been accustomed to over their years of running, I think that is the exact person that's going to want this cushioned daily trainer. So those are my thoughts on the Nimbus 24 after 100 miles. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions, or better yet, stop by the live stream that I do Monday through Friday right here on YouTube. I'd love to talk to you guys in the chat. Before I go, I do want to remind you guys that this Friday, March 18th, I'm going to be in LA getting ready for the LA Marathon, which will be that weekend. Friday, we're going to do a shakeout run together at Big Dean's Oceanside Cafe in Santa Monica. We're going to run down to the Ventura Skate Park and back. And then when we get back, ASICS is going to provide some chili dogs, some vegetarian options, and some beers for us to enjoy together as we watch the sunset on the West Coast. I'm very much looking forward to that. Today in Chicago was super cold. And while you're there, you'll be able to pick up some Kofuzi ASICS swag that'll be there, and you'll be able to chance to test out this Nimbus 20, not this Nimbus 24, but the Nimbus 24 for yourself, and you can see whether I'm right on this or whether I'm completely off base. So if you want to take this for a test drive, come out Friday, 5 p.m. All of it is going to be free. Hopefully I'll see you guys there. That's all I have for today, buddy. Thanks so much for making it all the way to the end of the video. Hopefully you guys are staying safe out there on your runs, and I will see you in the next one.
Yo, what's going on?